10 video. The top 10 events include the spread of the Black Death, the Crusades, the revitalization of the Silk Road, expansion of Islam, the use of the camel, horses, and longship, the Battle of Talas River, Mongolian invasions, the Bantu migration, diffusion of Christianity, and the diffusion of Buddhism. The spread of the Black Death occurred when rats carrying fleas from Asia went on through merchants to Western Europe, and as such, the plague was carried, and you had an infestation of disease and epidemics that occurred in Western Europe, where 2/3 of the population wiped out. In the Crusades, which actually helped with the spread of the Black Death, you had Christian revitalization to fight against the expansion of the Muslim Empire and gain back the Holy Lands from them. And as such, Jerusalem was gained and lost during the Crusades. You also had the revitalization of the Silk Road, which occurred with the Mongol Empire, and how the Mongol Empire protected Silk Roads and thus merchants in order to continue their expansion and continue their influence on the different areas of Asia that they had conquered. You also had the expansion of Islam, as mentioned before, and the expansion of Islam included the different technologies that they developed, as well as the strength of the religion as it began to expand to different areas. Even the Mongol Empire eventually transformed and converted to Islam, so it just shows the advancement of the expansion of Islam throughout the society of Eurasia, and Afro-Eurasia at that. You also have the use of camels, horses, and the longship, and the use of camels and horses helped with Africa and with Central Asia, respectively, with having the camel being allowed to help promote trade across the trans-Saharan trade routes, and horses being with the central steppes, allowing for longer transportation, and the longship with the Vikings to allow them to travel long distance in shallower waters. The Battle of Talas River eventually ended in the end of Chinese expansion. You also had the Mongolian invasions, which took over the largest land area empire that has ever existed. You had the Bantu migrations, which ended up fusing with Arabic to form Swahili, the diffusion of Christianity with the Great Schism that formed with Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholicism being a staple of Western Europe, and the diffusion of Buddhism, which can be seen throughout different areas of Japan and Southeastern Asia. Top 10 people and individuals include Muhammad, who was the creator of the Islamic faith, Genghis Khan, who was the leader of the Mongol Empire and led their expeditions, Rashid al-Din, a historian of the Ilkhanate in Iran, specifically Persia, Zheng He, who led the Chinese expeditions of the treasure fleets, Ibn Battuta, who was a traveler for Islam and for the Muslim Islamic Empire, and documented his travels and experiences, Marco Polo, who was likewise a traveler who documented mainly Kublai Khan's court, Zhui Sheng, who described the interaction between Buddhism of China and Buddhism of India in the early Tang dynasty, and Nushan, who led the rebellions against Tong China, Ali, the Fourth Caliphate, who was part of the reason for the split between the Sunni and Shia, and the Bedouins, a nomadic tribe that raised Muhammad from an early age. Top 10 social, political, cultural factors: Black Death in the Silk Road, which was spread because of the Silk Road trade, luxury goods on the Silk Road, which include porcelain, spices, and others, invention of the compass, junks, the dhow, and the astrolabe for trade. These innovations allowed for more trade occurring with maritime routes, the use of paper money and credit for efficient trade. This allowed for a better monetary system to be used. The Grand Canal in China, constructed during the Sui dynasty to unite North and South China. Feudalism, created to encourage a stable government between kings and nobles. The creation of tributary states in China, which during the Mongol expansion of China and rule of China would include Russia as the Golden Horde and later the Khanates. The development of the Code of Justinian, which revitalized Roman law and changed many of them to better suit the time period that Justinian found himself in. The Chinampa system and Waro Waro for efficient crop productions in Mesoamerica, which allowed for the Aztecs and the Incas respectively to be able to adapt to their environment and still survive as such. And the Crusades, caused by religious tension between Christians and Muslims primarily because of Muslims having holy lands that the Christians felt entitled to. And this is the end of the top 10 video for period 3. And as history tends to repeat itself, we always want to have our leaders be as righteous people as we can, who are always focused on the future and on good goals. And so, as such, remember this quote by Winston Churchill: "I may be drunk, miss, but in the morning I will be sober and you will still be ugly."
Created using Powtoon.